official time is 4:10. So, welcome. I am so excited that at the last session of the day, on the last session day, that there are so many people in this room that care about accessibility. Thank you. This is huge. So my name is Alyssa Panetta, and today we're going to talk about the best and worst Drupal themes, modules, widgets, extensions, and AI tools for ADA compliance. And again, if you weren't here a minute ago, you can download the slides here. I do recommend it. I have a lot of links to share. This is to a GitHub page, so the slides are available there in the PowerPoint format and in PDF. So have at it. Everybody got it? All right. We'll start out a little bit about me. I am a web designer and front-end developer. I currently work at the University at Albany for the university libraries, which is fantastic because I just get to work on library stuff. We have a nice Drupal site. It's okay right now. We're still on Drupal 8 at the moment, but we're working up to Drupal 10. I have been doing this for about 20 years. I started at a math software company. I've always kind of been involved in education. I started at the University of Albany in 2016, and I'm sorry, I just can't see my slides. That's better. In 2016, and in the year 2020, I was diagnosed with brain cancer, and I had it treated with surgery, chemo, and radiation. It went great, and but because of that, thank you. Because of that, I was left with cognitive, vision, and motor disabilities. And since then, I have pretty much dedicated myself to cognitive accessibility for the web. As I do feel like I'm in a special position as a web designer that, knows a firsthand experience. So that's why I like to talk about this stuff. And last year I actually joined the W3C has community groups attached to their different units, and they have a cognitive accessibility group. So I have joined the community group for that, and it has been very gratifying, and I'm learning a lot. So we're going to talk today about accessibility. There's a note here, if you have never seen the phrase A11Y, that is the shorthand that gets used a lot for the word accessibility. So we're going to talk today about why we're complying now with the ADA, what's changing, and then we're going to look at just accessibility testing tools. Is everybody here, has anyone here had tested their website for WCAG compliance? All right, we got a lot of folks, awesome. So yeah, we're going to look at widgets, extensions, AI tools, and Drupal themes and modules that you can use. And I'm going to tell you what's hype and what's helpful. That's kind of where we're at today. So here's the spoiler alert. If you take away one thing from this talk, it is this. These overlay widgets are terrible. You do not want to use these. I love that people here already know that. Great. So you know that we're going to talk about why, but these are definitely not the answer. They're going to promise to make your site compliant with one line of code, and that is a total lie. There's nothing that can do that, and so when you see that universal access symbol down there, it doesn't mean what universal access really means. It means that the owner of that website probably got duped. So. Here's the too long didn't read. Definitely stay away from overlay widgets. You also have to watch out for them because those vendors are really tricky. They really want your money, and they know it's easy to get it at this time. And the third thing is you should only trust vetted accessibility experts. So companies that specialize in accessibility or accessibility testers that are vetted in the accessibility world and are considered to be experts. So why are we talking about this? Why do we need to comply with the ADA rules, and why is it important right now? So everybody in here, if you know accessibility, you hopefully understand that we are all disabled, or we all will be. Eventually, it's really easy. And right now, we're all just temporarily abled. This is one of my favorite quotes from Cindy Lee. She's a designer. Because in this room, 1 in 4 of us, maybe more because you're here, are disabled. And we know that from the Center for Disease Control in 2018. They did some studies, and they noted that 1 in 4 Americans have some kind of disability. This is a chart that they put out called Disability Impacts All of Us. And this is its update in 2024. And it breaks down disability types into functional categories. And the ones here that we're worried about that are relevant to web design are vision, hearing, mobility, and cognition. And in my previous talk, like a couple years ago, cognition was not the highest. And now it has ranked the highest. So anyone with, talking about neurodiversity and, and brain stuff is, we're in the majority. So if you have bad memory, you're there. That one counts. But really, right now, I'm talking about it because I work for a public institution, and there are new laws that Section 508 and Title II, they got updated, and in April of just last year, and they are requiring all state and local government institutions to comply with what the federal government requirements already are, which are the Section 508 requirements. That's the federal government meets. And this applies to all websites and mobile applications. Any content on there, there's a lot of things. But the compliance deadlines are determined by the size of your government. And there's a link here to the fact sheet and everything you need to know about that. And there's also, if you don't care or if you're not in the U.S., the impact of there's a European Accessibility Act, and at the DQ AxCon a couple of weeks ago, the owner of DQ, Preeti Kumar, made this statement. She said the impact of the European Accessibility Act will mirror what the General Data Protection Regulations, the GDPR, how that changed global data privacy rights. So the idea is, you know how you see a cookie banner on every website you go to now? That's because of the GDPR in Europe. So with this European Accessibility Act, instead of giving that obnoxious cookie to click away from, you're going to have an accessible site. So that's great. And I hope it does, like Mirror, have that impact. And if DQ thinks it will, they are one of the trusted accessibility resources. They're experts, so I think it will. I trust them. So let's talk about what you have to get to WCAG 2.1, and so I'm not going to go through all the WCAG requirements and such. This slide, the one on the left, will take you to how to meet it, and there's a nice checklist here from the A11Y project that has a good checklist of WCAG compliance. The one on the left is filterable, so you can find different requirements and search through things. It's a nice site, and it's from the W3C, so it's trusted. All right, what kind of tools are we going to use? We're going to look at how we find available tools. We're going to look at automated tools and what they're good for, and we're also going to talk about what can only be found by manual testing. So this is my disclaimer. You and I, we're not the same person. We're not working on the same site. We do not have the same workflows, so we're probably not going to use the same set of tools. So my purpose here today is to help you find what's going to work for you. So where can you find them? And this is one of the places where the overlay vendors are out to get you. So you need to avoid search engines. You can ask AI, or my suggestion is to start at the WCAG source, which is the Web Accessibility Initiative. And they have a whole list of tools. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Okay, so why are you going to avoid search engines? Well, you know that what you're going to search for first is either Section 508 compliance, ADA checker, WCAG checker, any of those combination of words. That's what you're going to search for, right? That's where we're all going to start. And they know it too. These are terrible because those vendors, they know that, and they know that you can. This is the. I'm sorry, it's supposed to animate in. It's the iron triangle. If you've heard of the concept that you can only have two of fast, cheap, or good. In this case, we're looking at fast, cheap, and easy. And whenever there's a new government regulation, that means there's crappy work that you are going to have to do. You're going to have to test this, and you have to meet all of these requirements, and you are not the only person. So many people do. So they know that you are going to look for the easiest thing that you can. You don't want to spend a lot of time, and you want it to be fast and easy. So you can't have that without, you can't have cheap too. So they want your money. They know you're coming to it. So there's a high demand and for a fast, easy solution, and they want it. So they're coming for you. And nothing's faster and easier than a single line of code, and that's where they think it can get you. But they can't. Don't resist them. And they are very, we're back still on search engines, sorry. They know they can game the SEO. They know that their marketing will do the rest. It's really like what cigarette companies used to do by telling you that smoking doesn't cause cancer. These overlays tell you, oh, we're going to make your site magically comply. All you need is one line of code. You're not going to get sued. And if you do, they even promise that they'll help you with the legal stuff. But that's a lie. That's all lies. So, sorry. It's all lies. And they hide everywhere. I like if you just search for WCAG compliance, you'll come up with a website called accessibilitychecker.org, and it has .org on it. And you think, oh, this is going to work. This is free. This is a nice thing. But it's not. It's run by one of these overlay companies. So we'll talk. I haven't had another slide. I'm sorry. I have my sunflower on because I have cognitive issues. The top results are also from overlay widget vendors. And the top one is, Okay. So you can ask AI, and because everybody loves AI these days, it's hot, it's cool. So I asked it what tools it recommends. And before I asked it this question, what tools are available for me to test my website's WCAG compliance level, I wanted to make sure that it knew what it was talking about. So I just asked it a couple of things, like, how do I make my website comply with Section 508? And I asked it, how do you know that? And it gave me some different answers. But what I learned is that ChatGPT gave a pretty good answer. And if you have the slides downloaded, in the notes section, I have its whole transcript from it. It gave good general advice. It suggested combining tools and performing manual and user testing, which is very good advice. And it provided decent tool options with features and links, which was really nice. And again, those are all in there. But some of them were old, and it wasn't like the best list, but it was a good list. Copilot using Office 365, which comes through my university, was worthless. It listed one of the overlay vendors' websites, and I didn't test with too many AIs because I just don't like it. So I tested with Claude as well, and that was only the haiku version, so it was only giving short answers, and I don't know if it was, it kept saying, like, we're going to give you a comprehensive overview, and then it would just give me, like, really short bullet points that were not comprehensive. I don't know if, like, Sonnet can do that, the bigger one, but it also listed an overlay tool as a valid option. So Claude was wrong. I did also go to the source, the W3C, the Web Accessibility Initiative. And again, disclaimer, everybody's setup is going to be different. And these have filterable lists that you can, it has a lot of filters. You can search by cost, type, scope, and language. But everything that's in that list is not vetted. Like, nothing in it is vetted. It's all submitted by the folks. So if it was the tool developer, they could submit something, and they don't verify or endorse anything there. But they do offer you a guide on selecting the right tools. And there's a video with that, with a transcript, and it gives you good advice on choosing the right tools for you, what to consider, like your development process. All right, let's take a look at the basic testing tool setup. Again, you are going to need manual tools and automated tools. Automated tools alone won't get you very far. For a manual, you're going to need your desktop browsers, keyboard, and screen readers. For semi and automated tools, you have options. There are built-in browser dev tools. There are extensions and add-ons for your browsers that will do things. If you have browser bookmarklets, a quick question, how many people have used bookmarklets? All right, great. And then there are checkers on websites that will just check a whole page or a whole site and scan it for you. For manual testing is necessary because there are certain things that you just cannot do with automated tools. And these are some of them. You can check browser zoom and viewport resizing. That is a big thing that you can just do with your browser. It's easy, and but you have, there are considerations you have to make there. Visible keyboard focus and focus order. You do that with the keyboard. Screen reader output is important. You need to check, make sure it works. And then there's the accuracy of content that is generated by AI. So if you have auto-generated captions, transcripts, or if you use it for like alt text descriptions, you just have to check it out and verify that it makes context, because those things just they don't handle context well. So you need to make sure that they're good. And then the other thing you really should do, and it's sometimes hard to do, but it is important, and it really gets you, above and beyond, is you have to test with real users of assistive technologies. On to automated tools, which are good for some things, but like I said, they're not enough. At XCon last month, they noted that their platform only gets to 57% of the things via automation. And those are things it can check, like, is there alt text? Are the page titles and headings good? Do you have good color contrast? What's the language of the page? Do you have skip links? And are there form labels and required fields in your forms? So looking at the tool types, again, we have built-in browser dev tools. You have Firefox, Chrome, Safari. All of those have their own dev tools to look at. And those have added accessibility like tabs to them now. So that's cool. There are browsers, extensions, and add-ons, bookmarklets, site page checkers, and then also there are continuous integration and delivery pipeline tools that you can just build in. So if you're back-end and you want to do that, that's great. There are also Drupal modules. So what's the hype and what's the help? Let's start with the hype. You guessed it, overlay widgets. And these are one lines of codes that are JavaScript snippets you install on your website, and it allows the users to adjust the site appearance. And this is like a quick fix for compliance, but it's not. This isn't compliant. These are lies. They're not endorsed by the professional accessibility community or disabled users. And there's a couple links there that, that's not just me saying that. In one of them, it says a strong majority, 67% of respondents, these are disability, accessibility practitioners and people with disabilities. They were 67% said they're not at all or not very effective. The ones with disabilities were even less favorable. 72% rated them as not at all or not very effective, and only 2.4% rated them as very effective. And that is from the WebAIM did a survey on those overlay projects. Again, they do not offer lawsuit protection. There is a whole list of of lawsuits against them going on, or people getting sued because they use those. That's the worst part. And their sites, they're full of false claims. Everything on there. And there's a whole website dedicated to the false claims that they make. So go check those links out if you don't believe me. And then this is a great lawyer focused on disability, and she says the warnings are clear. She's wrote a lot about this. The warnings are clear. If you want your online presence to work for everyone, and if you want to protect against web accessibility lawsuits, a one line of code solution will not meet your needs. That's from a lawyer, not me. And they are hiding everywhere, like I said. These are places to look out for. Accessibilitychecker.org is terrible. This is what you see when you run it through. You get links to fix it using overlay widgets. They're two different vendors, and I don't want to have their names anywhere here. Or they give you an option to fix it yourself. Guess what that one goes? You click that, guess what you get?
Money. You have to pay money.
Yes, a lot. It basically says, yes, use our whole suite to do your accessibility testing. And some of those are even hiding in Drupal modules. So all-in-one accessibility, accessibility menu, and AudioEye Drupal accessibility and ADA compliance module. AudioEye is one of the overlay vendors. And I think all-in-one accessibility, a couple of them, they just lie, they hide in there. So check those out, or don't check those out. Artificial intelligence is a hot topic today. So what can it do actually for accessibility? And if you know Jacob Nielsen, the guru of usability, he has been talking about generative AI. You can generate a user interface on the fly for somebody. He thought that was what AI was going to be great for. He has since rescinded and updated it to say that he thinks autonomous AI agents that go on the website and use it for you, that's going to be the solution, the AI solution. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen because that involves no user interaction with the web page. You would be designing the web page to talk to an AI agent. So there's no UI, and what's the point? So it's really not equitable either, right? Accessibility is about equitability. It's not about equality. So it's not equitable to say, all right, well, you are going to use AI to talk to my website, but other people are going to see something. So that's not it. And then there's AI code assistants that are supposed to help as well. I can't say that I have tested these, so I've seen, like they're all under, development, and if you know of one you like, you just have to verify it and just make sure, because if AI is learning inaccessible code, it's not going to be able to spit out accessible code. And it's working off of, existing, code bases. And a lot of those are not accessible. So, all right, what's the good stuff? That's the junk. What will actually help you? So, automated tools. What are you going to look for in automated tools as you go through your list and try to, test things out? So these are signs that your product is legitimate, that it's good. It needs to use something reputable. You'll see the word reputable here a lot. So there are reputable engines that different vendors use. So AxeCore, DQ makes this engine called Axe, and their core engine is integrated into other tools. So if you test with Chrome Lighthouse, it's using Axe under the hood. So you can trust that it's automated checks, and also the Microsoft Accessibility Insights tool that also uses AxeCore under the hood. So those are good. Or things that are backed by a reputable accessibility firm. And a reputable accessibility firm if they have disabled staff. That is my number one recommendation. If they have disabled people either in their process, or definitely if they have them on staff, that's the gold standard. So in my opinion, that's DQ. There is a company called TPGI. There's Pope Tech and Tetralogical. That's just a few of them, but those are the main ones that produce tools to be used and that I find reputable. Again, I am not. You may not. If you know anything different, you go by that. And 100% not backed by an overlay accessibility vendor. 100%, because like I said, they hide in plain sight, and this is where like my library world comes in, and is like, you can't just take the first go at something. You can't trust that. You have to dig a little deeper. And I usually dig like 2 or 3 levels down, and that's when you get to, oh, this is a widget vendor. That's who they are. There's an article in one of the AI agents recommended to me was written in Business Week. Nice. Or Forbes. I think it was Forbes. And the article said, what is the place for accessibility overlays? And they were saying it was okay in some circumstances. And then I looked at the author, and it said it was a guest author. So then I Googled him. And wouldn't you know it, he came up as one of the partners for an overlay vendor. I was like, of course he's going to write that. So they're hiding everywhere. So don't take everything, take things with a grain of salt, when you're out there. Okay, so I did all of my extension testing in Chrome. I I really like Firefox myself. That's what I use, but Chrome is, more widely used. And so what I started with here was a web search in their web store, and I just searched for the word accessibility. And these are the ones I found. I found a lot more, but these are good ones. Well, let's see. I'm not saying I'm recommending these just now. These are just ones that are available that I did test. IBM Equal Access is very nice. ARIA DevTools is a great extension. We'll talk about most of these later. Wave is great. Arc Toolkit by TPGI is also very good. And there's a couple of free ones. And then freemium is like, they'll give you some of the tools for free, but then they really want you to upgrade. And then there are test suites that include accessibility testing. So if you use Browser Stack, or if you have a Site Improve contract, which my university does, they have a widget, a browser extension that you can use. It has everything else, but it does do accessibility testing, because like that does accessibility, SEO, and a handful of other things. But if you have contracts with those, you can try theirs out. Bookmarklets. Bookmarklets, I didn't really know about them until I started doing more accessibility testing, and they're so cool. You just put a link, it's a bookmark that you put in your browser, and when you click on it, it executes JavaScript code on the web page instead of opening a whole new web page. And there are some really good ones. There is the Sally bookmarklet. Sally is a whole project, an open source accessibility project that is very nice. And they have a bookmarklet that it's very cool. It will just go on the page and it will highlight things for you and give you, like little, like pop-ups about it. And the other one that is also comprehensive is Andy. And the reason that I really enjoy this one is because it was put out by the Social Security Administration, the federal government. And we need to meet new federal requirements. They already did that, so you can use theirs and reach 508 compliance at least through with help. With the help of that, you have to do other things, obviously. So those are like the comprehensive ones that I recommend. And then there are like accessibility auditors and testers that put together and share some of their tools. One of the best ones is Adrian Rosselli, and he has a page with, he calls them bookmarklets for testing and fixing that are free for you to steal. So, yeah. And then there's another collection of them under A11Y Tools, which is another, like private guy that, shares what they use to test, in professional settings. So you can trust those as well. And now Drupal. Drupal is fun when it comes to accessibility. So the Drupal core themes, those are accessible, and they are very nice. Olivero and the default public theme, and Claro, the default admin theme. I did not test Gin, but I think it is. But yeah, Claro is definitely. And then there are accessibility features built into Drupal core. And you can see those at that second link for Drupal accessibility features. I thought it was really cool when in the Drupal like getting started page is, the second item is accessibility. The first is like core, installing, and then the second one is accessibility. And then it goes on to modules and themes and all that stuff. So I like that. And there's also a link to how to do an accessibility review. There are modules. They go back and there are some that are great and some that aren't. And these lists come from from Drupal.org as part of this getting started page. So they list them all, and they don't say anything really about them. They just list ones that are available. And then they also list experimental modules that are okay too. But I did test a bunch of them. No, actually, I couldn't test a bunch of them because you have to install it to, you know, and go through the whole process of that. And yeah, that was just too much because there's a bunch of them. But I did look at themes. And again, these, I did not install any of these, again, for the same reason. So I just looked for in the themes. It's another thing that drives me a little nuts about the Drupal ecosystem, and something I am gonna, you know, suggest, you know, or contribute to, is that when you look in the modules, like lists, and you want to search for them, there's nothing to tell you about how accessible anything is, a theme or a module. So there's no, like, so the only thing I could do was say, all right, well, these were published by the federal government, so they, you know, like, have to be 508 compliant. Or I looked for statements where, you know, somebody said, oh, we are focused, you know, like on accessibility, or, you know, like we really care about it. And if you have a problem with our theme, please report it here. So I thought that was good. But yeah, if they said they were committed to it, and especially if they gave a feedback link, then I kind of trust them. So the US web design system is, they have a Drupal theme. And it integrates with their library, their U.S. You know, web design system, and that is free and open source, and you can use it. I wouldn't have thought that I could, but it is. I looked at all of their, you know, like stuff, and it says yes, please do, except for like certain parts, for like because they use like font awesome, and you can't use that. And then they also have a second one called Gesso. Which I have not used myself, but they are a whole other accessibility-focused theme on there, so I think that one's probably good. And there are the UK government and the Australian government also publish themes in Drupal that are also, they're not Section 508, but they are compliant to their standards. Yes, and then these are the accessibility-focused themes that I found that also look very good. There's Gesso, Emulsify, Lightship, and Olivero. So links, links, links. Those are two straight to the projects. And then we have the modules. So these are the testing modules, and then there are, these are the ones that I looked into, and I thought they were usable and helpful. The A11Y project checklist that I linked to in the first, like, WCAG 2 slide, I linked to the A11Y projects checklist. They have their own module so that for Drupal, so that you can see it, you know, as you're going along. The web accessibility module was pretty good. I think that one adds a text increase and a color thing to adjust for the user to adjust, and you can put that in a block, and it has a cookie that saves it. The Sally module is also very good. And then if you have Acquia, you can use theirs, Acquia Optimize. If you have Site Improve, like I do, you can use their module. Or if you have Dubbot, you can use their module. And then there are some other just accessibility modules that are not testing related. Part of the new AI module ecosystem for Drupal, they have an AI image alt text generator. And there are a couple of alt text generators out there in the Drupal module world. But this one I trust because it is integrated to Drupal's AI ecosystem already. So, and if you've seen any of that today or yesterday, it's been pretty cool. Editorially is awesome because this is for content authors. It checks it as they go along. So before they publish it, it checks them. So if they're using like CK Editor and they're putting in an image and they didn't add alt text, that'll find it and it will suggest it. It'll also say things like, does that make sense if you did that? Check your links. You used a link that says read more. Check the context of that and change it, because that is a thing too. There's another one called Style Switcher. that I'm interested in checking out. I haven't yet. And this ad links for you to change, for the user to change the whole style sheet. So if you wanted one that was in one color scheme, you could do that. You could do a light dark, and maybe like you could do a fun one. You could do anything you want. So I've seen other websites like that, just not Drupal ones, but it's a cool idea. So I want to play with that. All right. Anybody need anything else on this page? Download the slides. You go. All right. Let's look at manual testing resources. Okay, so these are helpful links to testing. They're for keyboard testing. There's a great page about testing accessibility with the keyboard from Shruti Kapoor. She also has a great one on testing accessibility with screen readers. So check those two out. The Web Accessibility Initiative has these great perspectives videos, and they will show you how a user uses keyboard compatibility and how they use it. So that's a cool thing. For screen readers, there is a nice article here on setting up a testing environment for screen readers if you've never used one. Sarah Sweedan, she published that article, and she also has an incredible accessibility course. It's a paid course, but I haven't taken it, but I've heard excellent things about it. For screen readers, there's a tool that I use. It is a paid tool, but it is very good. It's called Assistive Labs. Now, I work on a Mac, so I don't have access to Windows screen readers. But this is a tool that sets up a virtual machine for you within your browser. It loads it, and it loads the screen reader, and it gives me options so that I can just tab around and use the screen reader there. You can get a discount on it if you are a nonprofit or an educational customer or open source. They only had nonprofit discounts until my boss, like I told him about it, and I was like, oh, I want this, but they don't. He was like, do they have an educational discount? And I said, no, they don't, but they have a nonprofit, for 501(c)(3)s. And he was like, well, I'm going to ask. And he did, and they said, yeah, we could do that. And because we're a poor state library. So then they opened it up to everybody. So if you're EDU, you're welcome. And then the University of Colorado has some great videos, and they do a lot. Colorado is really good for accessibility. Yeah, Colorado. Yeah. So there are lots of resources there they have great videos of demos and things like that. So check out Colorado. There's more testing resources too for manual. So for AI-generated content, you can, like the actual users say like, oh, even bad generated text is better than none. So you do want it to be, like accurate though. So you should review it. But if you can't, it's better to leave it in. Don't worry, like don't say like, oh, it's not going to be right, so I don't want to put it in. Still put it in. For video captions and transcripts, I like the company 3Play Media, and they will do consulting on this, but they also have a little platform that will help you, transcribe and automate your transcripts yourself, a little DIY. And then for alt text, there's an article that Dries wrote. I don't know if anybody else is aware of it. He had like thousands of images, and he needed to compare them because he has, for his blog. So he went through them all, and he compared them. So you can check out his article because it's Dries. And then you definitely want to test with real users of assistive technologies. So there's the W3C's Web Accessibility Initiative has a nice, page about how to involve users. And then these are some of the places that I have found actually you can hire, disabled users. Perkins Access from Perkins School for the Blind, and Fable Tech Labs, and AccessWorks by Nobility. Please be aware, though, like, pay these people. Like, you shouldn't, have people, test things for you without paying them. So even if you just, know somebody who's disabled and you're like, hey, give it a test, please pay them for that. Okay, now here's my picks on things. And this is, again, my disclaimer. We're not the same. We're not working on the same site. We don't have the same workflow, so we're probably not going to use the same things. I use Firefox DevTools, and I really like the IBM Equal Access Checker and the ARC Toolkit. So IBM Equal Access is totally free. It is very high powered. You have a keyboard checker mode. It includes. You can select the guidelines or standards, like the WCAG version that you want to meet, and then IBM has its whole own set of standards that it uses. So you can check between those, and the IBM ones are supposed to be a little higher than the WCAG standards. Different automated browser tools like this, they work in different ways, and they give you different features. And one of the things that's important is whether or not hidden content is surfaced through these. And the IBM Equal Access Checker does include that. A lot of the other ones, like Wave, I love the Wave browser extension, but it doesn't include hidden content. So it kind of, you have to use something else in addition to that. And you can export your detailed report from IBM. It gives you real details on what the issue was, what the success criteria was, and then how to meet it. And it gives you links to resources on how to meet it. So I really like that one. And you can export the report and send it to people, and it's completely free. This one there's no freemium, there's no upgrade path. It's just there. So I like that one. And then the ARC Toolkit, this is by TPGI, and this is freemium, but they give you good, free tools on that side, and it doesn't bother you too much asking you to upgrade. And this one will break down all of the topics for you, so you can just test image accessibility. You can just test links, so you can break it down. This is very nice too, and it gives you errors, alerts, and it just will test best practices. And you can turn all of those on. So if you just want to see what your errors are, you can do that. If you just want to see what best practices are, because sometimes those come up too much. And you can send it directly to the W3C validator and an ARIA checker. So it will validate your HTML for you. You can just click a button and it'll send it to a page that validates your HTML, which is great. And then another one that'll just do your ARIA for you. It's awesome. It also is able to access the shadow DOM. So if you're using React or any of those, JavaScript frameworks, which I don't, this will also get to those. It can see them. The Wave website is a great place to start as a checker because it's trusted. It's by the WAI, that one is awesome. And if you're going to just run through a checker, just start there. Don't use don't search for accessibility checker. So I like that one, and I also really like ARIA DevTools. Has anybody have seen that one? Yeah. All right. Cool. ARIA DevTools breaks down the page. You don't see any of your page on it. It breaks it into like icons almost, but nested, and it's beautiful. I should have taken a screenshot of it. I'm sorry I didn't. If we have time, I can connect to it and show you. And then I use the Andy bookmarklet, is also very cool because it's 508 compliant. And then I use the editorially Drupal module for my authors so that they can see, where they're going wrong and where they need help. And then I also have some paid tools. Like I mentioned before, I have Assistive Labs to do my screen reader simulations. And then, does anybody use Polypane? One Polypaner. Okay, cool. Polypane is one of the best tools I've ever used for web development. It gives you multiple browser screen sizes. You can set them up, and it shows them all at the same time. So you can use different devices, different breakpoints, and it gives you dev tools for them, and that is very accessibility focused as well. So check that out. It's like $100 a year, but it is so worth it. If you do a lot of web design stuff, it's just great. And then Site Improve I also use because we have a Site Improve contract, so I use theirs as well. You might need professional help, if you don't feel like you can do any, this all the way. And honestly, I'm thinking about it myself. You need to just stick to pros that you can trust. So These lists come from the A11Y project, which is, again, it's a great resource that I like. And they have a list of agencies or specialists that are available to be hired. And they have professional testers. They have links to those as well. So that's it. You can reach out to me anytime. You can download the slides here, and you can reach me on Blue Sky, email, or on Drupal. And we have some time for questions, so who's got a question?
After going through a rather intensive compliance testing with the site, one of the things that I have found, and I'm curious if you have any tools or advice on this, is addressing the differences between the screen readers. That became the biggest issue, is how do they handle acronyms, how do they do this, and they all handle them differently.
I have not had much experience in that, but Adrian Rosselli, he is the man. He's tested all the screen readers, and I feel like I have seen somewhere a breakdown of every screen reader versus what it does, but I don't know it off the top of my head. So yeah, that one I would just go to the real pros on. I am not an accessibility engineer. I don't have a certification in it. I just I'm passionate about it. So yeah. Anybody else? I know it's the end of the day. It's late. I really appreciate everybody being here and sticking around. Nope, nothing else. Awesome. Thank you.